Hello, Porter fans, alumni, students, faculty, anyone who has Porter pride. Welcome to the inaugural edition of this brand new podcast that we are hosting here in the Port, formerly known as the Media Center, formerly known as the library, at Lockport Township High School East Campus. This is a beautiful facility. Glad we could christen it today with two fast becoming legends in Lockport. My name is Brett Hespell, social studies teacher, boys basketball coach here at LTHS. I'm joined today by the varsity coaching staff of our third place boys soccer team. Head coach Coach Beal, PE teacher, and assistant coach Todd Elkei, PE department chair.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
How we doing, guys?
Doing great.
We have the translate button on, so if Coach Beal, if we can't understand what Coach Beal said because of his thick English accent, we can, Mr. Crone's over here spinning the dials in the background. He can adjust. Coach Beal and Coach Elkei, this is their 12th year as porters. Mr. Beal, it's his first teaching and coaching job after a professional soccer career over in England. And then Mr. Elkei was at Crete Moni and Homewood Flossmoor, where he taught PE and coached soccer there. So we're lucky they're porters. We want to talk about this boys soccer season and the success they had. But first, Coach Beal, let's start with you. Give me a quick background how you got to Lockport.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, I grew up in England, went to high school in England, went to college in England. Then when I first came over here, I got married in 2002, so I've been here 20 years in America. It'll be my 20th anniversary coming up in May. I was coaching club soccer for a while. I was actually working at the Chicago Board of Trade, and then decided that, you know what, I enjoy coaching, I enjoy working with high school students. I'll go and become a physical education teacher, keep coaching, and the first time I applied for a job, I actually got it, and that was here at Lockport Township High School. And after a few years, I figured that this is probably the place I want to stay as a teacher, because it's, what a fantastic place to be, the facilities, the students, the staff. I think that it's such a great place, and it's such an honor to coach here that, I think we're definitely here to stay, me and Coach Elkei. Although Coach Elkei's only got about 6 years, I think I got about 17 or 18 years left. So I don't think we're going to go out together, although we came in together.
And Coach Elkei, give us a quick background for you.
I started at Crete Moni back in '96, and then went to Homewood Flossmoor. Came here to be the department chair for PE. I was hired a week after Beal, so if they would have hired me first, Beal probably would be here. Beal's been awesome to work with, that's for sure.
So let's talk about, you guys have a unique dynamic here where Coach Beal is the head boys coach and Coach Elkei is the assistant boys coach in the fall, and then in the spring you guys flip-flop roles. Coach Elkei is the head girls coach and Coach Beal is the assistant. What's that dynamic like of you guys working together? How have you kind of built the programs together?
I think that it works really well because you got a continuity there, and I don't really sometimes see it as head and assistant. I think it's just kind of a combination of ideas and the same kind of philosophies, and we talk about that before each season. What's our philosophy? What do we want to achieve? How do we want to do it? How do we want to run practices? But I feel we're on the same wavelength, going into the season, and I think our personalities kind of they really complement each other. And when we're working with the students, it might be one time that Coach Elkei is very loud and he's going after, we need to get better. I'm trying to be the good cop and being positive. And then there's times in the super sectional where it's halftime and I'm just saying, "Here's, you got 40 more minutes. Come on, if you're going to leave your legacy of the last 40 minutes of the season playing like this first half, that's embarrassing for who we are, where we've come. We need to work harder." And Coach Elkei is giving out fruit snacks. It's kind of like, it really is a combination of, I think that we complement each other in that way, and we can both see, what we need to do to be successful. And I think there is no egos here. I'm not head and you're assistant, you'll do as I say. I think it really is just a blend of, we work with each other, and we both like to coach. So, there's no sitting in the background. We mix up the practices. We're both coaching, and we're both coaching during the game. So,
yeah, and I think just that mutual respect there. Like if I see something, I'll sub. If he sees something, he subs. It's not I'm the only one that handles this. It's just kind of a mutual thing that flows really well with even Coach Rockrower and Coach Dunn. All four of us, we just get along so well and mesh well on the sideline.
I think from what I've seen, I think you're right. The no egos is a great way to put it, because you guys, you're committed to the team being successful, the kids doing a great job, and that's first and foremost. And speaking of the kids, let's talk about this season, because what a year. Coming off the pandemic, maybe we can start there. What was it like finishing up that weird soccer season last year and then flowing into this season? What did you know you had coming back? How did you approach it? Was there anything unique about that process as you got started?
Yeah, it was a strange season. Obviously, being with the boys, just the timing of the season, being in the spring, it just felt really strange. But I mean, we had a great season. We were 9-1, but I really felt, and I think the players felt, that it would have been a great chance and opportunity that year to really have a good state series, because I think we had a really good team last year, and I think the players that came back really felt like they lost out on that opportunity to go further, and maybe that motivated them, like, hey, we didn't get a chance last year. This might be our last chance for those seniors to have a really good year. I think they knew the talent that we had on the squad. We certainly knew the talent that we had on the squad. So I think that from the very first, practice in the summer, I think these players kind of knew that we could really have a special year.
And I think it was from last spring to this fall, we lost like our midfield, the heart of your team. And those question marks coming in, how are Dylan Morgan, Danny Jimenez, Adam Doyle, how are they going to fill those spots? And Danny, being a junior, and Dylan Morgan, and Adam Doyle just did a great job controlling that middle for us and getting the ball up front.
And so let's talk about some of the other players that maybe were coming back as key pieces who had some experience last year. Who were some of those guys that you were looking to be key players and leaders as you came into this season?
I'm sure Chris will want to talk about this guy, Gabe.
Yeah, we do have a certain player, Gabe Zach. You might know him, Coach Hespell.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he kind of likes to jump over hurdles a little bit too. But, I mean, he's a once-in-a-generational player. I mean, he really is a truly special player. I mean, his ability at the back is, he's our last line of defense, along with that whole back line this year. Ryan Pavelka, Don Williams, Skiba, Sean Flannery, Dylan Bilchek, the people who played at the back have been, a really outstanding year. But Gabe Zacco really is a standout player. And so many times this year you've seen forwards that you play against him that start the game, kind of, got the arrogance to think they're going to score. These are top-level forwards. And after 20, 30 minutes in, they're coming out, getting a break, and you could just see the frustration in their face. It's like, hey, coach, you keep telling me I got to go to goal. I can't get past this guy. I mean, he's like a Rolls Royce of a defender. He wins everything, and even when he doesn't win it first time, his recovery speed is so good, and he's so calm under pressure that I mean, he's just a once-in-a-generation player. Fantastic talent.
Coach Elkei, anybody else on the team that stands out that was coming back that you were counting on?
Well, I think up front we had three dynamic players up front that really helped and were dangerous. McConan and Danny Katazevich, a transfer from Tinley Park, and Nate Lazuski. Those three it was hard to come by three attackers like that from anyone that we played. They just were a dynamic force up front that when they wanted to get after it, they made a difference. And Dom Williams, when we moved Dom Williams up, I think he was key to our run, scoring in almost every phase of the playoff push. He had big goals.
And how about my guy Patrick Marshall in goal? Talk about him.
Yeah, he had a fantastic season too. I mean, we know what we can get from Pat. He's reliable. He's consistent. I mean, his handling is fantastic. I mean, he's a leader too. When he's on the field, we don't always have the most vocal players, and Pat's always the one he's very vocal. He's leading the team from the back, and I think the boys have a level of confidence in him that helps. So yeah, he had a great season. I think that's what we knew too coming into the season. We had a good goalkeeper. We have a very strong back line. We got skillful midfielders, and we got attackers that can score. And we're athletic. So we knew that we have such a good blend of talent, probably the best blend of talent that we've had here. And I think that's been key to our success.
Well, and Pat had that huge shootout win in the Bloom game. That was just outstanding.
Yeah.
Great scouting report.
That's true.
So let's talk about the early season there as you prepare for the Windy City Classic, which is your first big test of the year, right? What was that like, and how did you get ready for that, and how did you kind of work all these pieces together that you had?
I think, like you say, it's so early in the season that it kind of is a preseason games, and I mean, it was a great opportunity to really kind of blend the players and see who's going to fit where. And I think we found out early on what our formation, our system is going to be. And like I said, we rolled into that. And even at times when we were playing in the Windy City, we were winning, but we weren't really playing at the highest level. And we kind of knew that, and we kind of challenged the players, hey, you're winning games, but when we come play against a higher level talent, you guys need to step up. There needs to be a little bit more intensity. So I think those early games were really, really good to set us up for the rest of the season. But we rolled into that and we won it. Unfortunately, we couldn't play at Toyota Park like we won it last time, which was a great experience. But winning it again was something that maybe inspired the players. Like, hey, we got our first trophy. We can keep this rolling. We get conference. Let's go in the state, and it's a good tournament for early in the season.
And it's such a well-run tournament. Bob Morick at Revis does such a great job with that, and it's always a focus with our boys is the Windy City. We're really excited for that.
I actually have Bob's daughter in class this year. Yeah, funny that you mentioned that. So, Coach Elkei, you started the year with 7 straight wins, the Windy City Classic Championship, and then oftentimes when seasons like this, we focus so much on the victories. But on September 23rd, you had a loss to Lincoln Way Central. That was your only regular season loss of the season. So how did that play into molding the team and the team's journey? And sometimes that kind of stuff really makes an impact.
Well, it's more than that. It's our only regular season loss in the spring and this year, that Lincoln Way Central team. They're kind of pests to us.
Yeah.
But it was one thing we said, guys, if we get out of playing our game, we like to keep the ball on the ground and be a dynamic attack from the outside. If we don't do that, we're not going to be successful. So I think it was, they just come off Windy City, they're playing, they're kind of maybe reading their own headlines a little bit, where if they didn't get back to work and do what we need to do to be successful, we were going to be frustrated in the end. And the kids really rebounded from that and responded well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's possibly the best thing that happened all season was to get that loss. It's like Coach Elkei said, it was a jolt to the system. Hey, boys, like you say, if you want to be successful, then you got to keep working. And I think they were coasting a little bit, like you say, after the Windy City, that, they weren't really doing things in the game that they needed to do to be successful at that next level. And I think that kind of lost to Lincoln Way Central, woke them up a little bit, like, okay, we need to get back to practice harder and get back to playing our way. Because like Coach Elkei said, when we get out of playing that way against Lincoln Way Central, it's a more physical game, it kicks us in the butt a little bit.
Yeah, a great season's always a journey, and when you get to the end, you think about the success, but it's when you look back on all the steps, you realize, man, it took us some stuff to get here. After the Lincoln Way Central game, 13 straight wins, 12 straight wins, something like that, all the way to the state semifinals. Let's break it down piece by piece. So you finished the regular season out with no more losses, went into the regional. You guys were the, 2 seed in the sectional? Is that correct?
Yep.
And so the regional was at home. Talk about the teams you played at home in the regional and winning the regional championship.
Well, first of all, it's always great to play at Lockport because our grass fields are so fantastic. The guys do such a good job keeping those grass fields, and not every school likes to play on grass, but we do, and I think it's the best surface to play on. So we knew going into the regionals that we kind of an advantage for us. And then obviously we played HF, which we'd already played in conference. And once we rolled past them, playing Shepherd in the final, we knew could be a little bit of a dangerous team because they just beaten Sandberg, who, are a decent team overall. So we knew we had to keep our control, keep our composure. And once we got past that, then we were in the sectional play, which doesn't always happen for us. So we had to make sure that we really kept the players focused on what they needed to do.
Well, and Coach Elkei, you've won some things in the past and stuff. A regional championship is there's no laughing matter. Like, that doesn't happen every year. So, like, that alone is a good first accomplishment.
Yeah, you can't take it. There's so many good teams, and soccer is a crazy game where you can dominate a game and lose 1-0. But, just even that Shepherd game, it wasn't really over until Gabe hit that PK at the end. It was 1-0. They had a really good center back. They had a good plan, and they were executing it. But anytime you win a regional, it's an accomplishment.
And then, of course, you go to the sectional, where you're facing off in the semifinal against a really good Bloom team. And you had already played them in the regular season, correct?
Yep.
In a close game. And the sectional was at Sandberg. And this is kind of the top part in the year, I think, where we started to see this Cardiac Kids moniker be thrown on them. Maybe gave you a little more heartburn than you wanted. But those comebacks. Talk about what happened in the sectional there against Bloom, and then in the sectional championship game also.
Yeah, I think against Bloom, it was another team that kind of knocked us out of our stride. It was we weren't adapting to the way they were playing. They were playing a very direct game, and we were kind of getting out of our shape. And once we lost our rhythm, we were really struggling to get back in the game. And I knew we could, and I knew once we got back to playing our way that we could control the game. But we didn't control the possession, and when we do that, we look out of our comfort zone. And you're right, going into the last, they score, I think it was, with 8 minutes to go, and overtime, and looking at the clock, and there's 2 minutes left. I'm like, there's no way we can leave the season. We're way too good for this to be the end. And I'm thinking, if this is the way it goes out, then this is heartbreaking for these players, because I think we can achieve so much more if we can just get this goal back. And then, like I said, Dylan Morgan, who's been so good all season, just steps up 2 minutes to go, calmly does it, puts it in the corner. And I think that was the start of our never say die attitude going into the last stretch of the playoffs. And then we decided we go into a PK shootout where Pat Marshall, our senior, was so good. But we've worked on PK so much. We work on them every day, and I think the guys that stepped up, we knew we had the confidence in them, and we finally got it done.
Dylan Morgan's ball, it kind of went in like his personality. He's a real calm, cool kid, slow-mannered.
Yeah.
But he hit it, and it took, 15 bounces before it went in the
like
goal?
that.
I mean, it barely had enough rotation to get over the line. But it found its way in, and it was huge.
I'm sure it was one of those moments where it was like slowly bouncing in your head.
It took like about an hour to go to goal,
And then the sectional championship game, that was in the rain, right?
Oh, it was crazy elements.
Monsoon.
Wind and rain and a lot of Porter goals.
And you jumped on them early.
Yeah.
It felt
5-0.
good. It felt like being back at home. It's like being back in England. The windy, wet weather, it's perfect for me. It's what it's what I remember playing in England most of the time. But I think, right, Coach Elkei, that was a game where we really saw a different side of this team. We really thought, okay, this team could be really special. This team really stepped up. We knew how we had to play against this team. Romeoville had won so many games this year and really taken apart really good teams because of their passing style and their skillful way they can pass and move. But we knew if we stepped on that and pressured them, and really kind of outworked them, but then we used our athletic talent to really drive forward and use our attacking talent to score goals. If we jumped on them early, we knew we could frustrate them. And that was the first time we really saw these guys go to another level. It was like, wow, we were 5-0 up at halftime. And I think there were a lot of people either watching that game around the state and watching us and thinking, okay, this Lockport team's legit. They just tore this team apart. And I think that was the first time we thought, okay, this is it. We could really go all the way here.
And it wasn't just one kid. That was a true team. It was the best half of soccer. I mean, it was a great game, but that first half, we came in with our game plan, and it's one of those coaches' dreams where you design your plan and what you want to do, and then every kid executes it perfectly. It was I've never been more proud of the boys.
Yeah.
They just played awesome. It was incredible.
One of those. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Right. Why can't you do that all the time?
Yes, if it would just be so much easier.
Right.
So that takes you to the super sectional. You're sectional champs. You're heading down to Bloomington. You're playing Cahokia from out of the St. Louis area. Team you obviously don't see very often. Team you can only really kind of hear about, maybe see some film, but really not a lot of familiarity. They took the lead against you guys.
Collinsville was up 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, it was we'd watch film on these guys, but we really didn't know what to expect. It's a team, like I said, we don't really see very often, but the legitimacy of that program, they've been strong for years, them and Edwardsville and O'Fallon and all those guys, because they all played high-level club in St. Louis, so we know that they were going to be good, but we knew what we could do, and I think it was again, them going 2-0 up. We didn't play a good first half. We backed off too much, and we should have been more in their face, more pressure on them. So we knew at halftime we had a real tough job to try and get them back motivated, and not so much motivated, but on track of how we could play. And I think, again, that just shows the character of these players that, 10 minutes to go, 11 minutes to go, we're putting all the pressure on them, but we can't score. And then to score 2 goals in 16 seconds, it just shows the determination, the hunger that our players have. And I think after that, we knew we could drive on and win that game. And that's what happened. We had all the momentum. And it really just showed, like I say, that the real killer instinct of these players and the team. And we saw it against Romeoville, and again, we saw it against Collinsville.
It took 20 minutes for the smiley face fruit snacks to kick in.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Coach Elkei, talk about those 2 goals in 16 seconds. That's crazy.
It was the first time I've ever been a part of that, and it was, again, they get the ball wide, cross it in. I think it was just what we wanted to do. But just the emotion, you scoring your first one, okay, we got this. And before I could turn around, the ball's in the net again. I was like, holy cow. It was crazy.
That's got to deflate the other team a little bit, who's controlled the game for so much, and then boom, it's back to.
Yeah, you can see it on film. Their head when the second goal went in, they just kind of put their heads down. But Dom made that great run. Dom Williams made that great run from deep, and Gabe headed it to Dylan. Dylan popped it over the back line. Danny Katazovic sprints down the left side and puts the cross right in the seam like we do in practice all the time. And Dom just buried it, and they were done. And then the third goal was the same way. Dom Williams had it wide, crossed it in, and Katazovic put it in. The next day it was incredible.
Yeah.
Which puts you in the state semifinals, Hoffman Estates High School, playing York. I was at that game. That York was able to get up 3-0, and then all of a sudden, kind of late in the game, I felt like there's a little life because you guys scored a couple and thought maybe you had a chance. And talk a little bit about that game.
If we had 90 minutes, I think it would have been all right.
Yeah,
we only
I
had
think
80.
so, yeah. I mean, again, it was, York's a really good team. We know that he got some high-level players that have been playing, professional academy level that came back to play for York. They were big, solid players defensively. You have big players in midfield that could drive the game on. And they got really talented forwards. So we knew it was going to be a real difficult matchup. But I think, first half we hang with them. It was that they just got one-headed goal from a corner kick. And, so the boys, we're right there with them. But, as the game went on, we had to step up. We had to start pressuring them more, try and win the ball higher up the field, and try, and we got caught on a counterattack. I think we're actually dominating the second half. And then, 3 up, but it just shows again. These kids weren't ready to let it go. And we get 3-1, we get back to 3-2, and we had York completely pinned back. York's a very technically good team. All they were doing was playing long ball by the end. They were just in panic mode. They were just trying to clear the ball. And we were just relentlessly pressing. I think, like I say, if we give us 10 more minutes, I think we'd have tied that game up. Yeah. And I think once we tied it, we would have gone on and win. And so I think it was just a little too much, a little bit too late. And, it's frustrating.
Even their coach after the game, he's walking up and he says, "Oh, my God, I thought you guys were going to do it again."
Yeah.
Because I was getting so nervous. I thought you were going to do it again. But just to hear the fans and the crowd and the support we got, it was incredible.
It was a great crowd. It was. A lot of students there. It was good to see those kids come up. And then the bronze medal match against Morton, able to win that one to take the third-place medal home. So finish off the season there for me.
Yeah, I mean, we knew coming back, once you're lost in the state series, you're obviously going to be disappointed and you're going to be completely, disillusioned. But like we said, we had a talk with them and said, hey, the guys that come back and play hard and win the third-place game, that's a true testament of character. Because not everyone wants to play in that game. And that we really told them that this season's been about the journey. It's been a great journey. It's been so many amazing memories and experiences. That let's end the journey on a high. Let's not end the journey on a low. Let's make it 2 seasons in a row when we win our last game of the season, which not everyone can say. So I think the boys came out, and again, they played a great game. But it wasn't until we went down to 10 players when we got a red card that, again, that whole team ethos of, we really came together against adversity. And that's what drove us on, I think. And that's when we went 2-0 up, is when we were up against it, when we were down to 10 players. Against a team who's widely regarded as being the top 1 or 2 teams in the state. So I think that last game was, that was truly special for sure.
And again, it was guys stepping up. Nick Skiba, didn't start a game at center back all year, but we lost a guy to a very questionable red card. We'll talk about that in another podcast. But, he stepped in for Ryan Pavelka, who's been a centerpiece for us all year, and Nick just did a great job back there for us. And,
guys, Coach Beal just used the word ethos.
That's pretty good, right?
So whoever does the second one has a lot to live up to here. Gentlemen, congratulations on a fantastic season. 20-2, third place in the state. Just so many great accomplishments. I want to leave you with one final question. What have you taken away from this season that maybe other people, whether they're athletes or students or other people around Porter Nation, what could they learn from the experience you guys had this season and the journey your kids took this year?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I know that for a fact this has been, in terms of coaching, just the most memorable, fun experience. Like watching the kids. I mean, we got a bunch of trophies with the regionals and sectionals. That's at my house. I should probably bring them in at some point. But I think it really, truly, just to see the journey these boys have had and the memorable comebacks and, the euphoria with the fans. The first thing they always did, they go celebrate with the fans. The fans that come on the field, all the guys, the JV1, JV2, all the parents that had been supporting us all the way through. To see those experiences was just incredible. And I think, it's just that if you believe, and you really work hard at something and you can really blend that team mentality, I think, you can really achieve a lot more than maybe you thought you could. And I think that's what it is. It's really trying to strive to be the best that you can be. And I think when they're going into the playoffs, I think these boys can truly look at themselves in the face and say, we did the best that we could. We didn't sell ourselves short. We did ourselves proud. We did our parents proud. We did the school proud. And I think that's what it comes down to. And if any athlete and coach can go into the season and say we can get the best out of our players, have some fun, and create those memories, then I think that's what it's all about.
And I think that belief is the big part, but that belief didn't start this year. It started, way back in 2000, whenever we started coming here.
Yeah.
And before that, with the alumni that we had to support, and just building a little more every year, building a little more every year. So I thank our alumni for believing and buying in, and maybe things just didn't go their way, a break here, a break there. Maybe they could have been there, but that belief that they had and that setting that tradition, that expectation and excellence, that's what we want from our kids.
And that's a great point. I was fortunate enough for many years to be able to announce the home soccer games, and I can attest to the fact that you guys have done a fantastic job of just building the program and consistency, and the kids play hard and they're always on the same page, and that's a reflection of your guys' leadership. So as a Porter, I thank you guys for that. And Mr. Crone in the background, thanks for letting us christen your studio. He's giving us a thumbs up right now. First Port podcast, or whatever it ends up being called, goes down in history as the boys' third place soccer team. Go Porters. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.